finally we meet again. For you that who are new here, my name is Julius. I make RC model planes and share with you build video and plans in every 2 or 3 weeks. In this episode, I'm going to share with you how I build this Cessna 337 Skymaster, or in this case, this is the military version. This O-2A Skymaster or Oscar Deuce. It was used by US Air Force for recon and to find insurgents in the forest, because this plane can fly slow and low, also to direct artillery fire and direct rescue mission. It also can function as the close air support, firing its own weapon, can carry rocket launcher and gun pods like this. The weight of this model is about 2 kilos or 2000 grams. The wingspan is 1800 millimeters. It has a unique propeller configuration. This is puller and pusher. Actually, I already made this type of plane 2 times before. And also actually the first model plane that I made is Cessna Skymaster. You can see this clip. And the second one is for FPV. This is the video. But on both models, I only have the motor on the back side, just pusher. So I think this is the first time I make Cessna Skymaster with motors like this. This plane haven't fly yet. I will fly tomorrow on Maiden Flight. I hope it can fly and there's no trouble. I guess let's see how I make these models. Check this out. Bend and curve the foam board by hitting it with a heat gun, and then rub and slowly bend it onto a metal pipe like this. For airfoil former, I use 3mm PVC foam board. You can also use 3mm plywood. I use PVC foam board because it's easier to cut, although it's a bit more expensive compared to the plywood. Place the airfoil formers on the foam board 5mm from the front edge. Sand the foam board using rough sand cloth to have slope shape like this on the leading edge. Do the same for the trailing edge. As usual, I use 80g GSM plain paper for making the housing for 10mm carbon tube. Apply CA glue to make it hard and rigid. Insert the carbon tube housing inside the wing formers. Now I am making the airfoil former for the side wing. Glue the carbon tube to the airfoil formers. Make sure one carbon is longer for the easier assembly. Do the same as the middle wing for leading and trailing edges of the side wing. Attach the foam spar according to the plans. Make sure to reinforce every hard spar with 5mm foam board. Add a piece of 9mm plywood on the inside of each formers to receive locking screw, and then make a hole for the screwdriver like this. I use gypsum or wood screw like this. Angle the screw so it can be reached and tighten with screwdriver from below the wing. You can see here I made scoring lines for easier bending on 5mm foam board. Make the score lines interval as narrow as possible for smooth curving. Add foam board to the hard spars. Glue the upper wing part. Start with the leading edge first using hot glue. And then apply foam safe glue on the spars and formers, and then wait 5 minutes before closing the wing. Now close the side wing. Make wingtip with 4 stacks of 5mm foam board. For smooth result, sand it with water. Cut the aileron using a guide from the plans. And then prepare the ailerons like this. Add a piece of foam inside the aileron to install aileron servo to the wing. I use 9-gram micro servo. Follow the steps to build twin boom tail. Attach 10mm carbon pipe to the foam boom. I suggest you to use full boom length carbon pipe. Tail boom will be attached to the center wing, so here I combine both center wing parts. Make tube housing again with the same technique as before for the boom. And then attach it to the bottom of the center wing according to the plans. Reinforce it with foam strips like this. Mark the corresponding boom with the housing. Attach hardpoint from PVC foam board to the back of the boom tail. You also can use 3mm plywood. Prepare the horizontal stabilizer like this. Add former to make a transition part from the boom to the center wing. Here I use 10mm EVA foam and sandwich it with 3mm PVC foam board for making lock system for each boom. Add mica plastic to protect the foam. Here how I make the main landing gear. The real one is retractable, but it will need more weeks if I make it retractable. The watt material is 3mm PVC foam board. You can replace it with 3mm plywood. I continue making the fuselage formers. I removed more than a third portion of the landing gear base from the original to save weight. I start attaching the foam board part. You need to sand the edges to fit other parts. Here how I make the front landing gear by following the plans. This is 2.5 mm bicycle wheel spoke wire. And this is 3 mm motorcycle wheel spoke wire. I also made two housing from paper. Here I add smaller wire for its steering arm. And then install it to the fuselage. Add bamboo chopstick to hold rubber bands for suspension. And here how I install the servo for steering the wheel. Now close the foamers with foam board. Install the front motor according to the plans. In this puller-pusher prop configuration, we don't need to add motor thrust angle because each prop already cancel each other torque. Here I use twin DXW3536 1200 kV brushless motor and 50 amp ESC with 3S 2200 mAh. Here I'll try to follow a suggestion for one of you to make score lines with fork. Thank you, Mr. Chisman. It worked. Make engine cowl with 7 stacks of 5mm foam board. And then carve into shape and wet sand it. Setting up wiring for servos. I use white color packing tape for covering. Cover all surfaces. Cut the tapes in small cuts for covering curved surfaces. The tapes must end up sticking to other tapes, but if it sticks to the foam, you need to add hot glue so the tape can stick properly. Use guides from the plans to cut a portion of the center wing. We need to sand the tape covering before applying paint. I will cut windows on this side, so I need to sand it first. because it will be harder to sand if there are already windows there. Use guides from plans to cut windows. Here I add reinforcement with PVC foam board to the existing support frames. I also add some foam to the frames for saving the wing. Glue the center wing to the fuselage. Here's how I finish the top part of the fuselage. I use card paper to cover gap on the center wing. And a small screw to lock the battery hatch. How I cut landing light on the wing, but no light system. I use Depron Executive Grey spray paint for primary color. Here I use wet paper for masking, because you can use masking tape on this. The tape will peel off the paint. I will use sticky tape to attach the window glass and use it as a maintenance windows. Here I add paper masking tape around the two windows, so that way the paint won't peel off when I remove the glass. I use black cable for installing the windshield. Here I cut the windshield from a curved mica plastic sheet. How I curve the plastic you can watch it on Piper's and Decal build video. But instead of using a helmet as a mold, I use R2D2 head. Make sure you add instrument panel first before attaching the windshield. I use painted vinyl stickers for adding list and window frame. Here how I attach a window glass. Apply the printed vinyl sticker decal. Adding some details. As you can see here, the wing strut is loose from its place. That's indicating that the center wing is deformed when I hold it in the air. Looks like I need to make a functional wing strut, not just as accessories. So I cut holes on the fuselage and the wing to expose the formers, and then glue the strut to them. I used 2 stacks of 3mm PVC foam board as the strut material. I use servo arm for the control horn. The CG is 9 cm from the leading edge. Fortunately, the damage was not too many. Both props were okay, the right wing broke and the left tail boom broke, but still can be repaired. Okay, let's see what the heck happened there. It happened so fast, I didn't realize the steering wheel was not straight, so it steered slightly to the right, like this. Okay, on here, this plane was able to take off smoothly. That's a relief, it can fly. But here, it looked like when I eased the elevator, this plane was diving down and hit a bush. Here I made one axis gimbal for my RunCam camera. I also included it on my plans. You can check that out. At first I wanted to calibrate the steering so it can take off run on a straight line, but then again the front landing gear collapsed, and I didn't full check the front landing gear after the crash yesterday. After an emergency repair, only with CA glue, it's ready to take off again. After it hit the first grass patch, the front wheel broke again, but the plane continued to take off. Apparently, the right wing that broke yesterday was not back to its original shape. It bent abnormally, but that was not the real problem. Now the problem is the plane kept diving down. I had to hold the elevator up all the time. I think I have found a design mistake here that made the plane always nose down. The black line is the movement of the plane straight forward like this, and the wing has a positive angle of incidence. The yellow line. But I attached the boom at the same angle as the wing. That caused negative pitch to the horizontal stabilizer. That made the plane always dive down. So I need to reattach the tail boom. And here I reattach the tail boom. Now the twin boom already have the correct angle. I already changed the angle on the plans, so you just have to follow the plans. I also changed the design of the front landing gear. That first design was a mistake. Okay guys, on the third attempt, finally this plane can fly and meet my expectation. It can easy to take off. The power is enough, more than enough I think, and the control is like other planes, but it's not perfect because the wing flex too much and the construction of the landing gear is not strong enough. No, actually it's very weak. What I learned on this build is by using a PVC foam board, it's not strong enough and also not rigid enough. Because of this, on the next episode, I think I will back to using plywood, 3mm plywood again. As you can see, I made a modification on the tail boom, but I already changed it on the plan, so you don't have to change it again. You just have to follow the plans. On the first days after this video is released, maybe you'll encounter that the link for the plans is not available yet. I will update the link maybe in 1 week. And okay, this plane is already finished. You can make it yourself by following the plans. And the next model, I will continue making part 3 of Boeing 747, the tail section. Okay guys, thank you for watching. If you like this video, consider to subscribe, hit the like button, and also share the video to your friends and colleagues. If you want to support me even more, you can join the membership of the channel. Okay guys, thanks again. See you in the next episode.